Hello and welcome back to another Indie Sunday. Today we're going to be playing the demo to Mothmen 1966. First off, I don't know if you're noticing anything different because I am using a new mic currently. And I literally got the mic, 2 days ago I think, and then I realized I need an XLR cable that actually works with the mic. So that was another 2 days of waiting for that to arrive. And then I found out, the mic's awfully quiet without anything to boost its sound. So I now ordered another thing that should boost the microphone's sound as well without me having to put the gain all the way up, every other sound all the way up, and then having to boost it in the editing software as well, just to make it, not awful to listen to. So, this is basically an experiment to see how well it works without that audio boost. Secondly, this might not be the first video that actually uses the mic. So, I don't know. I don't know what you're watching, what you're doing, or forget about it. Secondly, the in-game audio is incredibly quiet. I've turned it pretty much all the way to the max. I've turned my headphone all the way to the max. I'll probably boost this one in the editing software as well, and I'll see if I can make it somewhat more audible. I guess you'll figure it out. I don't know much about Mothmen 1966. Seems like some kind of pixel horror visual novel kind of deal. I guess we'll figure it out. There's the loudness. Let me turn it back down a bit. The other issue with this, by the way, is that I now have to be very loud when talking. I don't know if you can really hear sort of the strain in my voice. So this is not something that's viable for like an hour or 2 hours of me talking, because I'll be dead. Well, I won't be dead, but my vocal cords will be dead by about minute 30. We'll see how long this takes. Maybe it takes 30 minutes and you'll experience that in real time. But I hope it doesn't. We'll see. We can choose... Oh. I pressed A. It also goes auto... Wait. Oh, A is... A is auto... A is automatically advancing text as well. Brilliant. That's the exact button I should have clicked. Okay, so I couldn't read the first message. Do we have a log? Yes, we do. Prologue. Where apparently we're hold now. 3 red and 5 black in the discard pile. Of the 6 cards face up on the counter, 2 are red and 4 are black. So 5 red in all, and 9 black. You have no more moves. So you have to bet now. I was not paying attention. Can I open the log again? No, I can't. Of course not. Bet on red. With so many black cards drawn, it feels natural to choose red. Numbers should be on your side. That is not how statistics works. Even though you've already chosen, you decide to stay away from the counter. You can't bear losing again. You think of your grandma, Elsie, trying to win at solitaire for over 60 years. You take a deep breath and keep sweeping. Elsie's been paralyzed from the waist down since she was 21. Your mum was only 2 months old. The winter Elsie taught you to play solitaire, your parents and sister had been dead for almost a year, and you'd already begun to forget their faces. Although you cook for her, do her laundry, bathe and even dress her, it still feels like she's the one taking care of you. You close your eyes and almost feel Elsie stroking your hair. You're 11 years old again, kneeling next to her bed, crying your heart out. Suddenly, the bell rings and you feel an invisible force trying to drag you into the present. Keep your eyes closed. You decide to stay away. A few more seconds at the edge of your grandma's bed, her fingers running through your hair, pushing away the images that haunt you. You hear the bell a second time, and then a third. Now you know it can't be a customer. Those fucking kids. You don't know what comes over... Oh, that's not me yelling yet. Okay. You don't know what comes over you, but you yell some things at them that you're too ashamed to remember. You justify yourself, thinking that they might be the ones who got into your garage that night, wanted to say garbage, and stole some parts of the replica machine gun you're building. Okay. You won't let anyone mess with your project. The wine and steam machine gun is the jewel of your collection. The kids yell at you, old freak, and laugh, sheltered by the distance. Deep down, you know that it can't be them. How would they know which parts of the machine gun were worth stealing? Anyway, that guard dog's being brought over in a few days and you'll be able to stop worrying. Check the hose. You think about what someone told you at the bar about replacing the hose with a thicker one so that it could only be activated by the weight of a car. And what happens if the kids jump with their bikes and land on top of the hose with one of the wheels? You asked. Kids are always going to find some way to bust your balls, they replied. Alright, we're going back in. You try to calm down. You look at the shelves and think of the solitaire your grandma taught you. Your grandma always said that everyone has their place in the world, and that people keep dancing around it without ever reaching it. To win this solitaire, you have to stop dancing. You know that the chances of winning are incredibly low, almost zero. You can't bring yourself to turn over the next card and decide to start sorting the shelves instead. Doing simple jobs builds up your self-confidence and provides you some illusion of control. They do look fairly similar. We will grab something from the lower shelf. Please give me the bottle. We doing some puzzle here. Okay. Replace something from the upper shelf, the box. And then put it in the lower. Okay, we're just sorting them. I don't know if there is much sense in doing this, but I will do so anyway. Give me that bottle. And replace the box with it. And take the box. Give me that can. And put that can in the middle shelf. Check them. Good. One type of product on each shelf. Good. You scratch your head. This time sorting the shelves doesn't help. You feel the same urgency as before and you can't think of anything else. Is the card going to be read? You need it to be read. Suddenly the air seems heavy and you find it a bit difficult to breathe. 3 men in black are staring at you. Through the window you see a black Cadillac by the pump. Yes? You wish you'd asked them how they got into the station without you hearing the door open, or how they left the car there without the bell ringing. But that trembling yes was the only thing you managed to utter. The moose. The moose? After a few seconds of not receiving any response, you decide to break the silence. Give them directions to the moose. Continue straight until the first crossroads and turn right. After a while you'll see the bar past the barn with the painted cross. You can't miss it. None of the men in black open their mouths. Every second that passes, the smile in your face feels more and more ridiculous. The moose. You bought a woman a whiskey. You don't know if it's the right move, but you try to relax and be more friendly. Do you know of a more effective way to socialize? You told her the dream about your grandma. A chill runs through your body. It's been a few weeks since that night. And even though you had a good time with Martha and have no regrets, something about the way these men in black ask their questions makes you uneasy. Oh, what do you want to know? Granny in the forest. One of the men farther back lets out a cracking noise. You look at him believing he's laughing, but the man in black's expression doesn't change. Tell them about your dream. My grandma has been bedridden for over 60 years, but in a dream I saw her running through the woods. Start from the beginning, and don't omit any details. You don't know if it's the way they look at you or because of a certain authority in their voice, but you tell them everything about the dream. 5 or 6 weeks ago, you woke up in the middle of the night, certain that something had happened to your grandma. You ran up to her room and Elsie wasn't in bed. The window was wide open. You ran to it and saw someone walking through the trees. It was her, and she was holding a rifle of the kind your ancestors would have carried in the Civil War. You tried to call out to her. Your grandma started running and shot 2 or 3 times into the blackness of the forest. You were about to go down to find her when a winged figure with glowing red eyes appeared in front of the window and screamed. You stumbled backwards, and after hitting your head on the bedpost, you lost consciousness. You woke up in your bed and remembered the dream almost instantly. You went up the stairs 2 at a time and opened the door to her room. Your grandmother slept peacefully. On the bedside table was the glass of milk you bring her every night and the deck of cards she uses to play solitaire. During the days that followed, you tried to convince yourself that it had all been a dream, even though you couldn't explain where the little stitches at the base of your skull had come from. After a few seconds, one of the men in black speaks again. The spots on her legs predate her birth, Holt. What? What is he talking about? Is he referring to the dozens of moles on your grandma's legs? What do they mean by saying those spots predate her birth? Elsie always makes the same joke when you sponge her calves. Be thankful that you have to clean my legs and not my grandfather's. According to what she told you, her granddad had been shot dead by an experimental weapon early in the Civil War when his legs were ripped to shreds. The wine and steam gun, son. A machine gun that doesn't appear in any book. You think about the replica you were putting together in the workshop and you wonder if it was the men in black who had stolen those pieces. You're not telling anyone else about this visit, Holt. You start to complain when one of the men in black picks up a card from the counter. The top card of the deck. The crunch horrifies you. The teeth of the man in black seem to tear more than simple paper. Desperate, you throw yourself under the counter and look for the card. Your heart is pounding. You look out the window and you don't see the Cadillac. You walk to where the car was parked a few moments ago. You step on a hose, and the bell rings. What the fuck? Jack of diamonds. Red! I knew it! You think about the edge one of the men in black tore off, and you remember the noise he made when he chewed it. Was it a threat? A warning? You wonder if you should tell your grandma everything that happened or just keep your mouth shut, and keep playing solitaire with a marked card. This is a demo version of Mothmen 1966. We're now going to skip a chapter and take you directly to chapter 2, okay? After a tense journey, Victoria and her boyfriend Lee have just arrived at Holt's gas station. Lee has planned a special date for Victoria, watching the Leonid meteor shower together. Chapter 2, Victoria. Lee turns off the car and looks you in the eye. He smiles, and that smile seriously pisses you off. You try to return the smile, but you feel the hatred burning inside you. But it's not just Lee. The problem goes deeper. Why did you choose to smile? Why is it so hard to tell him? Wait here, Vic. I swear you won't believe it. You bite your lip and take a deep breath. You see him greet someone. Holt? Lee had written Holt Station on the map he'd thrown on your lap 20 minutes ago. He'd written it by hand, and it might as well have said Hort Station or Halt Station. Hell Station, even. Lee's handwriting has always been intriguing to you. You remember that time you mentioned it to him and he responded with a disproportionate anger. A nonsensical rant which involved several philosophers of language. And all because you told him his handwriting was dreadful. But you now know where those reactions come from. That night you two got drunk by the lake. Lee told you that his father would have wanted to be born ugly. After the initial surprise, you couldn't stifle a belly laugh and Lee looked down. For a few minutes, he didn't want to tell you anything else. You finally convinced him to continue. I always got what I wanted just by smiling. Ugly people have to develop other muscles. Unfortunately, those other muscles are the ones that last. You couldn't believe those words had come out of the mouth of a flesh and blood human being. Maybe some poorly written character from a cheap romantic novel, but Lee's father? You picture Lee that night, throwing pebbles from the shore while telling you everything about his father's teachings. All that frustration. Was that the night you got pregnant? You'd both been drinking. Suddenly you find it difficult to breathe. The interior of the car feels like it's getting smaller and smaller. You need some air. We're not saying anything. You close the door slowly. You know what Lee is like with his new car, and breathe in the cool night air. Victoria. Vic, this is Holt. Holt, Victoria. Hello. You respond to the greeting, but they don't seem to care that much. Be right back, Vic. You see them walk away with a box they took out of the trunk, and from the effort Holt's putting in, it seems heavy. What's inside the box? You're not stupid. You know that Lee has some business on the side beyond his work as an intern at the university. You heard some rumors, and you have your suspicions. However, you never did too much digging. You prefer to keep it a mystery, something to make Lee a little more interesting. You light a cigarette. Would Lee be a good father? And the question that you still haven't had the courage to ask, would you be a good mother? The clicks repeat at irregular intervals. Small moths approach the light to get electrocuted. Is that love, Victoria? You laugh and shake your head from side to side. You think of all the manuscripts you've torn up. You've tried poetry, drawing. History seemed like an obvious choice. You don't need any talent to be a historian. Hello? The man talks to himself while holding something in his hand. Have you seen any winged creatures flying over the area yet? For a moment you think he's asking some kind of tricky question and you remain silent. However, something about him tells you that he's genuinely asking. You look at the man bathed in the shine of the streetlight and the scene fascinates you. Surreal, some of your old friends would have said. The ones that organized poetry nights and read L'Autrement. Excuse me, you are... Oh yes, sorry, Lou Hill. Writer. Victoria Greenberry. History student. Winged creatures, Mr. Hill? Lou, please. Can I call you Victoria? You nod. I'm looking into about a dozen reports, Victoria. Numerous witnesses claim to have seen human-sized winged creatures flying over the area. Angels? No, Mothmen, obviously. Victoria, please. Lou smiles, but the smile doesn't last long on his face. Look there, at the top of the trees. It won't take you long to find one. You aim at the area Lou just told you. Everything's blurry, so you decide to adjust the binoculars. The focusing wheel? Oh god. You cannot rotate further to the left to adjust the focus. If you can't focus, try adjusting the diopter first. It's adjusted to compensate for some issues with my left eye, but you're young. Try to adjust it to see the same with both eyes, then focus. Okay. You move the diopter to the right and notice the change in your left eye. Yeah, it's equal now. Right. What the? It was just a second, but you think you saw something up there. Was it suggestion? I don't think they're angels, Victoria. But before I tell you my theory, I need your help. Could you draw in this notebook what you just saw? Yes. At any other time you'd have refused with some witty comments, but there's something about Lou Hill that invites you to play along. You wonder if the fact that he presented himself as a writer had something to do with it. Draw the head. It was sort of like a little owl. Alien head? No, not that. A little owl head? Or was it a big owl head? No, it was a little owl head. White chest with... no, definitely not that. Small round body with chicken wings? Nope. How about a human chest with... well, it didn't have its wings stretched out. How am I supposed to know? Let's go for the human chest. Just because they're Mothmen. Draw the legs. Let's see. Okay, and what is the last option? You know what, sure, give this to Lou. Before giving it back, you write some notes further describing what you saw. Lou hadn't asked for them, but somehow they make you feel less anxious. You never felt confident about your work. Lou looks at the notebook for a few seconds that feel too long. You think about that time you showed your sketches to your art teacher and how he embarrassed you in front of the rest of the class. Motherfucker. What? Sorry, I was talking to myself. You can't help but blush. Victoria. For once you're glad to hear Lee's voice. All good. Although he seems to be talking to you, Lee keeps staring at Lou. Lou Hill. Writer. Lou holds out his hand. Lee Miller, historian. Lee walks over and puts his arms around you, his back to Lou. You know he must have been annoyed that Lou introduced himself as a writer. Although it's hard for you to admit it, you like to be hugged. You feel safe. You think you would also feel safe in your grandmother's arms or in the arms of any of the other strong women in your family. But the heat of Lee's body, the hardness of his muscles... You remember all those biologist arguments you hate so much and you can't help but smile. It's like you're cheating when nobody's looking. Come on, Vic. Let's see the surprise. Close your eyes. No. Always so nice, Vic. Lee might be insufferable, but this time you feel he's right. You walk in silence to the back of the station. So, what do you think? Lee's smile stays put. Why doesn't he lose that damn smile? A romantic dinner for two under the same meteor shower that amazed our ancestors. You instinctively put your hand to your belly, and when you realize it, you quickly put it in your pocket. You look at the dog tied to the post. That one's a bit scary. The dog growls into the dark. It looks almost a bit like a bear, to be honest. You've reached the end of the demo. Thanks for playing. Stay tuned for the full release of Mothmen 1966 on July 14th and wishlist the game on Steam. And there we have it. That was this week's Indie Sunday with Mothmen 1966. Not generally the kind of game I would normally play fully, at least not nowadays, because it requires a hell of a lot of reading, and my voice isn't necessarily equipped to handle that much reading anymore. But an interesting setup. You have quite a bit of tension, I suppose, with the first scene. With obviously, it's a very classic plot of just like a couple of random people coming in, saying some sketchy, weird shit, and then leaving again. And obviously the dog growling at nothing, or nothing in quotation marks, is also pretty typical. But yeah, definitely sets up something interesting. And I suppose I'll see what the ratings for the game will be once it does release in a couple weeks' time. And yeah, for now, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys again next time. Till then, bye.